On my first day in Berlin, I was dazzled by all the locals zooming around on push bikes. No lycra-clad roadies here, just everyday people doing their shopping or going to work. I saw one very smartly dressed businessman in a suit riding through the Brandenburg Gate. The other unmissable sight was the TV tower looming large over the whole city. It was built during the Cold War as a symbol of communist power. But what shocked me the most was the bullet marks in the buildings all around the city. It was easy to imagine the last days of World War II as the soldiers fought street by street until the end. Berlin is a city of contrasts, currently a creative capital. However, 2 world wars and the wall still loom large in its history, architecture and reputation. Hi, my name is Catherine. Let's go beyond the hype and explore Berlin through 4 books. First up is Berlin, Imagine a City by Rory Maclean. This is an outstanding collection of short stories about individuals in Berlin from medieval times through to today. One of my favourite chapters was about the life and ambitions of the city planner Schnickel, who designed the wide streets and classical buildings like the Altez Museum. I also liked the chapter written like a diary when the American President John F. Kennedy visited in 1963 and said those famous words, "Ich bin ein Berliner." And another favourite story was superstar David Bowie, let loose in the city in the 70s to recover his creativity and make music and mayhem. The author actually worked with Bowie during the 70s in Berlin. I can imagine them both hanging out at all-night parties. Each chapter is about an individual's experience in Berlin. There are many unexpected twists and turns along the way. Reading this book is like time travelling through the many phases of Berlin. Book 2 is The Good German by Joseph Kanon. Many books set in Berlin relate to World War II. This book is one of the better ones. Jake, an American war correspondent, returns to Berlin in the months immediately following the surrender. He is on a mission to find his lost love, Lena. Berlin is in ruins. The beautiful roads and bridges we travel today are covered in rubble, and famous haunts like the Hotel Aldon are struggling to stay afloat. The author paints a vivid picture of Berlin in 1945. Early in the story, a body is washed up on the shores of the lake, and Jake gets tangled up in it all. Who has died and who is telling the truth? The Americans, British, Russians, or Germans? The story has it all: love, deception, espionage, and well-developed characters. Along the way, Jake is presented with many moral challenges, and I kept wondering what I would have done if I was in the same situation. This book is definitely one for the mystery fans. Book 3 is Cloud and Wallfish by Nesbet. Can you imagine, as an 11-year-old American, being taken by your parents from school directly to the airport and on to East Berlin to live? No? Well, neither can Noah. But here he is in East Berlin, behind the Iron Curtain and experiencing the Cold War in the 1980s. His side of the city is under communist rule, and life is dominated by the wall that separates the 2 halves of the city. Nowadays, fragments of the wall are all through the city. One large section is an outdoor art gallery with an ever-changing vista of political and topical statements. Noah is trying to adapt to his new life, but what are his mum and dad up to with their rules and secrets? All is not as it seems. What I really liked about this book was, even though it was set in East Berlin at a time that was dangerous and frightening, the story being told through the eyes of an 11-year-old gives it a pleasant and intriguing tone. Set in 1989, a pivotal year in the history of the war, the key theme of friendship and acceptance of others shines through. This book is a fascinating fish out of water tale. It is also suitable for young adults. Book 4 is A Woman in Berlin. The Russian army is marching in to occupy Berlin near the end of World War II. Berliners are struggling to survive with little food and living in bombed-out buildings. This is one woman's true story of what she endured to survive. Again, we travel the streets of Berlin, but in a much more personal way. The narrator uses a broken-down pushbike over cobblestones for miles and miles to get to work camps or search for missing friends. We visit her everyday Berlin as she narrates her daily experiences at the hands of the occupying Russian army, including brutal rapes and the extreme lengths Berliners go to survive. Reading about her experience is harrowing and not the type of book I would normally read. However, the factual writing style and a desire to see the outcome kept me hooked till the end. The book was first published anonymously in the 1950s, and many were so uncomfortable with the subject matter they tried to say it was fiction. Scholars proved that the story was true, and this author's identity was released after her death. This book is a powerful read on the resilience of the human spirit that will stay with me forever. And that's just 4 of many books set in Berlin, a city that is adapting and reinventing itself into the cool city of Europe. What's your favourite thing about Berlin? Leave a comment below. Links to all the books and extra content is in the description below. Our next video is in progress. Currently, I am reading books set in Sydney, my hometown. Thank you to my friend Monique, who lives in Berlin, for venturing out and capturing the footage. We could not have made this episode without you.